Hey, Motorman here, and this week we're going to talk about what happens when the going gets a little tough, when there's a little bit of pressure on you. Do you fold like a cheap lawn chair? Well, we're going to find out. I'm going to show you what happens in my class. After each of the classes, we hold a little competition. It's a volunteer thing, don't have to do it, but I time the riders through the intersection exercise, and the best time with the least amount of errors, an error is putting a foot down or knocking a cone over, wins a trophy. A lot of people really want that trophy bad, and they just go crazy and they mess up. Others are really so intimidated by just the stopwatch that they fall to pieces and make mistakes they haven't made in a couple of hours. But that's what I'm going to show you. Before I show you that, I've got a special deal for you. Check this out. This is the Ride Like a Pro experience video along with the practice guide. Ride Like a Pro on the Tail of the Dragon video along with part 2. And you're going to get all of these for $29.95, but you have to call to get this deal. It's 866-868-7433, and you must call between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't call me at all kinds of weird hours from Yugoslavia or someplace. It's 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, 866-868-7433. Once again, you're going to get 3 DVDs plus the practice guide, all for $29.95. Now let's go to the video. All right, this is the start of the competition. Now this particular rider has been here to the class before. He's on my rented Sportster. He's rented that Sportster before, as a matter of fact, and he does very well. He's also happens to be a doctor, and I believe he's a brain surgeon, so hopefully the pressure doesn't get to him. And the pressure, the only pressure being, you can't commit any errors because that goes against your time. The pressure is strictly the stopwatch. Now, because he's been here before, he gets a little bit of a handicap. Here's a rider first time at the class. Did pretty well during the class. I'd say a little bit better than average. And so far, he's not folding under the pressure of the stopwatch. Now, everybody who does this wants that trophy. I don't know what the big deal about a trophy is. I mean, you could buy a trophy for $10 and put anything that you want on it, but for some reason, they'll either do their best ever during this competition, or they totally fall apart. Now, he made a little bit of mistake there. If there was a double yellow line, he'd have passed the double yellow line, so we add a second to that. That's considered an error, along with putting a foot down, is we add a second, or hitting a cone, we add a second. If you drive out of the exercise, it's over. We call that an abort. Here's a female rider. She's on a Fat Boy. Well, she folded. She went out, completely out of the leg. She's continuing, but it doesn't matter. It's over for her. Had she not done that, had she turned her head and eyes a little bit quicker, she'd have been in the running for that trophy. Her time was very good. This particular rider coming up, he's been riding really, really slowly all day long, doing pretty well. But I kept telling him to get Miss Daisy off the back of the bike. That, by the way, he went a little bit too far on the opposite side of the turn there, so we added a second for him. But this is his fastest run through the exercise. Now, he's probably done this particular exercise throughout the day. Most of the riders at least 10 or 12 times, maybe more. I actually don't count how many times they go through an exercise, but this was by far his best time. So he's not the type of person that's going to panic and fall apart under pressure. This rider too, doing, I'd say, better than average most of the time throughout the day. He'd made a few mistakes, as all riders do, but here he's doing pretty well. He's not going too fast for his skill level. He's not panicking yet. Will he panic? Will he totally screw it up? Let's just keep watching and see. So far, so good. All he's got to do now is come to a stop right at the end. And he does very well. No errors. That was a clean run. This rider, kind of high-strung, made some mistakes during the day. Sometimes leaned his bike a little too far, dropped it. And he just made a whopping mistake. He went out of the leg of the exercise, so it's over for him. He's completely confused now, doesn't know where to go. Almost runs into the grass. So yes, if the going gets tough, he's going to fold under pressure. This particular rider did very well. I remember his using his rear brake was a little tough for him. He couldn't, because when you're using that rear brake, you need to have your heel on the floorboard and the ball of your foot or your toe on the brake. He had a real big problem doing that with his ankle. I don't know why. Now he just screwed up. That foot down cost him a second. Hit a cone, that's another second. So yeah, I'd have to say he's folding under pressure. If he commits a crime, the cops would have him talking in 5 minutes. This rider coming up was very consistent all day long. He was practicing before he got to the class. He and the lady that was with him, you saw in the Fat Boy. And he was very consistent. Could have picked up his speed just a tiny bit, but he had a good handle on the techniques. He was very calm. And he really wants that trophy, I could tell. You'll find out at the end who actually won the trophy. Come to a nice stop there. He could have made up some time after making that turn. That's a little bit of a straight part is where you want to make up some time. This rider is on one of the more difficult bikes to ride, but he too practiced prior to getting to the class, and he did make some mistakes in the class, but so far, it's a really good run. Had a good handle on the techniques. When he made a mistake, he knew exactly what he had done wrong, and he's not making any mistakes here. He wants that trophy bad. He will not fold under pressure. Almost there, almost, but still, he had the best time and the least amount of errors, and he is the trophy winner on a big Indian motorcycle. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't panic.